we have one question here. Hold on. Let me just post this. I think Gamma, you can answer this. Right. Samad is asking, what can we do to prohibit mechanical slaughtering over the world?
I think the reality is, and it's something that the Muslims need to come together. And what we tend to find, my experience has been in, we argue on 3% of our difference and spend 97% of our time arguing about the 3% differences. Whereas everybody else has learned to work on 90% of the commonality forward, because this division and infighting just dilutes the halal brand. And if you look at all the market data and research that is out there and shows you the potential for halal as a business opportunity is absolutely huge. But because of this proliferation, the actual opportunity can't be recognized. Now, in some cases, it's obviously politicized. In some cases, it's done for profit reasons. But the reality is the ultimate person that suffers is the Muslim consumer at the end of the day. The only way to get around it is the principles of halal are the same. It's just the implementation doesn't deliver the actual principles. And I think unless the bodies learn to work together, they put mechanical slaughter not allowed in their standards, like Halal Food Authority has done, and one or two others, you know, and unless the certifying bodies are regulated to a common standard, it just eliminates all the noise. For example, if we look at weight, you know, everybody understands weight, you know, it's very straightforward. And similarly, it should be the same. For example, you know, with people in Eastern Europe, if you're not talking, can you put yourself on mute, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Gamma. Okay, we have another question.
Sorry, I didn't finish, but I was waiting.
Sorry.
I didn't finish. I was waiting for whoever wasn't on mute to put themselves on mute because they were breathing heavily or whatever, you know? So that's why I stopped.
No. Please continue.
Okay, so essentially, when you compete with people and the halal authorities haven't done their job, they're not certified properly, or they give a piece of paper, it undermines the whole chain and trust and confidence in the hard work that a lot of the bodies are regulated and are doing the hard work. And that's where I would say authorities that are importing, you know, need to scrutinize some of the bodies that they accept. And also, if they are looking at standards, how do you make it equivalent? Because some of them aren't equivalent, and there's a competitive advantage to some standards versus others. And that's why I think people need to take ownership and say, actually, you know what, this isn't right. Mechanical slaughter, to be honest with you, it's an interesting one. A lot of people would say, well, you know, should we allow it, should we not allow it? The reality of mechanical slaughter, if you're doing stunt to stunt, is a welfare issue. It shouldn't be done. The whole purpose of slaughtering with a hand and a knife is so it can be done properly, so less harm to the animals. So again, it's a bit of a contentious issue, but just an example. Other examples that come in is gas, for example, is another one where it's allowed in certain countries. There's a third one, is captive bolt to the head, for example. It's allowed in certain countries, it's not allowed in standard. So there's a number of things that people can come together and work together to resolve this issue. And I think once we get to uniform standard that everybody accepts, it just makes life so much easier. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think the questions are coming in now. So let me, the next one, I think Awal can be answering this. Let me put Awal inside. Awal. Hold on. Let me transfer as Awal, yeah? Awal, I think this question goes to you. You can answer this. Yeah. Can I ask why red tractor assurance isn't used more to support the standard and quality of British product? Awal, you're on mute. Could you take this? Awal?
Thank you very much, Hifza. It's quite time to once you be given the permission. Yeah. Which question did you want me to answer, please?
This one. Can I ask why rate tractor assurance isn't used to more to support the standard and quality of British product?
Yeah, I think this is more for Gamma to answer because he's a processor. From rate tractor point of view, I think if you look at the way halal products are produced, it's either stunned or not stunned. So if it's not stunned, then the red tractor logo cannot be used. But if it is stunned, then red tractor can be used. So I think the question as to why we haven't used the red tractor to promote British products as quality and good products, I think Gamma will be the right person to ask if whether he uses it for export, or if he doesn't, why does he not use it?
Can I answer that?
Yes, of course.
I think Awal's spot on. I think from our perspective, red tractor, if I just step outside of my remit, if I look at it, regard non-stun as a welfare issue. That's the only fundamental difference. And to us, it just gives confusion to the sector, because to most Muslims, basically, that do accept non-stun, it's a bit like, well, hang on, I don't understand that. And so to me, for that reason, we choose not to go down the route of red tractor, because we want a consistent, simple communication to the customer, because we do non-stun and we do stun. And fundamentally, the only difference in process is the point of slaughter. Now, quite happy to have a debate with red tractor, and they're welcome to hold a meeting to represent their views, and quite happy to take it on the head. It's not just red tractor. They also do the same when it comes to the quality British logo. When it comes to non-stun, you're not allowed to use a standard. And to me, as a producer and a manufacturer, I think it's just toying around rather than actually dealing with the fundamentals, because we're harming our industry by having that view. And to me, you look at the BVA, British Veterinary Association, they have the stakeholder meetings, there's the dialogue going on. And I think it's only through dialogue that you can come to say whether something's right or not. You've got a number of bodies in there. You've got the RSPCA, you've got Compassionate World Farming, you've got a number of them, and they all have different views about welfare. And what tends to happen is it just confuses the issue of promoting Halal Britain, basically, the brand from the UK overseas. We compete with people from overseas, and our standards are the best in the world, no doubt. But yeah, we can't communicate it in a coherent message. Oh, by the way, this stun person is red tractor. Oh, this non-stun isn't. Oh, and it's just a case of we need to learn to come together as a collective and say, you know what, Halal Britain means this, bang, and some of the issues which I think are politicized rather than actuals is where my view would be. Because to me, as a person, you can't label something as saying it's not welfare. You can have that debate, but you can't label it and judge it, basically, and say we can't apply that standard. But they're allowed to do that. So therefore, our position is to have a consistent message. We just don't choose to use red tractor. If our customers want to choose to use it, they can do it, but we don't use it. We just promote that we're a British brand. That's it, basically, Okay.
For export meat to UAE and GCC, does halal shipment certificate also mandatory? Is mandatory along with halal certificate? I will pass this over to Dr. Isam to answer. Yeah.
Yes. Regarding health certificate, I'm not sure if my sound clear.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So regarding halal certificates, we have two types of halal certificate required with the shipments. Either a slaughtering halal certificate for carcasses, and we have halal certificate for the meat products only. So that's the only two certificates that we require for all the shipments coming to the Dubai. But in the question, I mentioned that halal shipments. So I'm not sure exactly what does halal shipment certificate means. We don't require halal for the shipment itself, but we require halal certificate for the products which is in the shipments, if I understand the question correctly. So as I mentioned, two types of certificates: halal slaughtering certificate and halal certificate. The first one for the carcasses. The second one is for the meat products, especially meat and chickens.
Can I just comment?
Oh, sorry. Hold on, sorry. I think let me just put Awal back again. Apologies for this. Awal, sorry for this, Awal. Are you in, Awal? Yeah, Awal? You're back in?
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Yes,
Okay.
you're back in.
I just wanted to clarify the question for Dr. Issam. Dr. Issam, when the questioner said halal shipment certificate, what they mean is halal consignment certificate. So if you are sending a consignment, do you need a certificate for the consignment? And I think you've answered the question. You need a certificate for the product, and that product will represent the consignment.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I think all other questions that we receive, we will compile this and email to all delegates. We will ask the speakers to answer this because we are running out of time. Just now earlier, apologies for the technical error because the opening remark by our chairman. Yeah, so we will do this now. Yeah, thank you everyone. So thank you Awal. We will now do for Dr. Issam and